You're listening to the PRO Media Network, the next level in entertainment.
Here he goes in. Throwing it down! How about a poster? Anthony Davis is on fire!
You're listening to the Pelicans Postgame Report on the PRO Media Network for all things Pelicans.
For all things Pelicans, you're now listening to the Pelican Postgame Report on the PRO Media Network. I'm Big Q chiming with you on podcast 287. That's right, 287 on the podcast. And we're going to be recapping the Pels and the Thunder's matchup that happened the other night. 118 to 114. The Pelicans took down the number one team record-wise in the Western Conference. They took them down at home to climb back to 500 on the season. 15-15, third in the Southwest Division. Big ups to the Pelicans for a quality win. Let's just hope they can string them together. And that round of applause is for them and you, new and established people listening to the show. Thank you for joining us today on podcast 287. In this current episode, we're going to recap said game as well as give you stats, facts, and breakdown and our take here at the Pelican Postgame Report about how our team been playing. And this is a podcast for all NBA fans, in particular, our Pelicans fan. We got a voice here to talk about this team, and we're going to offer our thoughts on them as well as we're going to have Coach Gentry's interview, his post-game interview, will be coming up momentarily. We'll have a stats facts breakdown on the game, and we'll also preview the Miami Heat game coming up Sunday afternoon in the Smoothie King Center, in the Blender. And of course, that'll be interesting too. We'll give you that one. And of course, we got the Pelican Postgame Report question of the day issuing out to you. Feel free to answer in the comment section. And that will deal with, do you think that the Pelicans need to make a trade to improve their team? Okay, if you do think that way, then who do you think they should get reasonably? You know, don't be getting up here talking about we need to trade AD for LeBron James and all that foolishness. We want some serious thought processes here. If you really think the Pelicans, need some help and there's a trade that needs to happen, what would be the logical move to get? What player would better fit with AD and Drew Holiday? What do you think about that? Y'all offer y'all comments in the comments section. And, of course, we're going to read some of those replies on a later show. Now, with that said, let's get right into it. We're going to bring in our contributor here, DC, who's been doing a fabulous job hosting the last couple of Pelican Postgame Reports. He is here tonight chiming in. What's going on with you, DC?
Flying high and flying low as usual. Doing the Pels thing, staying in the middle, trying to keep balance. But, yeah, man, very impressive win last night, so I'm ready to get to talking about that. And letting y'all know who I would suggest we trade for.
Well said, DC, and DC will chime in with those thoughts as well. Let's get right into the breakdown on the show. We're going to start with the team statistics from this game. Now, of course, to me, man, the Pelicans, model of inconsistency, right? Up one moment, down one. And to be honest with you, the last several games have been the case. Since that losing streak when they lost those 4 games against the Knicks, the Knicks, Wizards, Celtics, and the Celtics, Wizards, Knicks, and the Sixers. They won 1, lost 1, won 1, lost 1, won 1, lost 1. They were able to beat the Pistons, then lose to the Celtics. Then they beat the Thunder. Will they lose to the Heat? Will they lose to the Heat? Well, they lost to the Heat about several games ago, 106 to 101. What are we expecting here? Can the Pelicans redeem themselves at home? But it's just how the team is flowing right now. It's the ebb and flow of the team right now. They're just trying to find that ground, man. 45 of 97 for 46% for the Pelicans from the field. The Thunder were 48%. Pelicans shot a miserable, ungodly 4 of 18 from downtown for 22%. The Thunder were 13 of 43 for 30%. The Pelicans did a fantastic thing in this game, and that was hit those free throws. 24 of 30 for 80%. That is where I think they should be. And if they can do that, if they can add more points from the free throw line. Some of these close games will never happen. Some of these games, they've lost 2 or 3 games off of free throws. That, more than that actually, but 3 in my mind I can recollect. The Thunder wasn't so good. They were 17 of 27 in this game. If they had hit their free throws, they probably would have won this game. 63 total rebounds for the Pelicans versus 50 by the Thunder. The outstanding stat is the Pelicans had 17 offensive rebounds in this game versus 9 against the Thunder. Huge in this game. They out-assisted the Thunder 29-23. They outstole the Thunder 14-10. Thunder did have more blocks, 6-3, and the turnovers were 18-18. Pelicans had 21 points off of theirs. The Thunder had 17 off of theirs. Pelicans didn't win the fast break battle, 17-13. That was won by the Thunder, but the points in the paint domination by the Pelicans helped seal the deal as well. 74 points by the Pelicans in the paint. They won the paint water battle versus the Thunder's 48. And, of course, personal fouls were 27-27. Now, before we get into individual stats and get into more of our breakdown, let's hear what Coach Gentry had to say about his team's great performance against those Thunder. Here he is.
Coach, it wasn't easy. A hard finish. No team led by double figures tonight. Congratulations on the win. Was it as grinding as it looked for all of us watching?
Yeah, but you're going to have to grind it against that team. They play so hard, and they're so big, and the things they do best – it's what we struggle with, offensive rebound, and, they ended up, I don't know what. Wow, we were better than I thought. But it seemed like they got a ton of them. But
9 to be exact.
Yeah, but it seemed like they got a ton. But I thought we did a good job overall, just staying in the game, and, we made a lot of good plays. We had 2 really crucial turnovers there at the end that really hurt us. And, we had talked about the fact that Westbrook would play the passing lanes on that one, and we just didn't quite, make that play. But in the end, when we had to have the 2 stops, we came up with 2 great stops. We were great getting the ball inside. I think anytime you can score 74 points in the paint, then, you're getting the ball to the basket. That's why, we only ended up with 4 threes, for the game, but that's okay if we're getting the ball to the basket like that.
It's amazing. Anthony Davis had 44. In fact, Davis, Randall, and Holiday combined for, I want to say, 86 points tonight. Did those 3 have to carry that much load for you to win the ball game?
Well, I don't know. It's who we are, though. It's not like we depend on them to carry the load. They are the load, It's who we're going to go to. I thought AD was absolutely great tonight. I thought Julius was really good, and Drew defensively once again is really good. I thought Solomon probably did, as good a job as you can do on Paul George at the level that he's playing right now. He's playing at such a high level right now that, you're looking, he's got 25 points, but I just thought what Solo did to him and how we were into him, we made the game a little difficult for him.
When you attack the paint, you mentioned it there, to score what you did in the paint, is that because your shooting was off, or was that just an emphasis regardless?
Our whole goal is to get the ball to the paint, and then if we get it to the paint and they collapse on us, then we've got to think about, pitching out for open shots. But if we can get it there and finish, which is what we did tonight, then, obviously those are higher percentage shots than throwing it out and taking jump shots.
I feel like that's an identity of this team, is to be able to attack. I think you guys are leading the NBA in points in the paint. Is it something?
I think we're very good at getting the ball into the paint, and I think we're starting to make good decisions again. There was a stretch where we went through there where we weren't making very good decisions after getting it in the paint. I think we've done a good job of getting it in the paint and then making good decisions. Go ahead.
Coach, when you talk about tonight, the pick and roll was extremely effective for you.
Yeah, it was.
That's Coach Gentry chiming with his thoughts on the game. And, of course, you hear what Coach saying. He's breaking the game down. Comment that really was interesting to me was the fact that he mentioned that Drew Holiday and Anthony Davis, they are the players that they rely on. And my philosophy is a little different than Coach Gentry. Of course, I haven't been in the league as a coach for 30-something years in the NBA. But then again, I don't have a losing record as a head coach either. So when it comes down to it, I'm a common sense dude. You could make most things, most of everything, very commonsensical. I was, very common sense guy. Keeps life very simple. It doesn't allow it to become too complicated. The thing I noticed about Coach Gentry's system is, the fact that it is a beautiful system when it works well. And I mean, when all the pieces are flowing, but if he can only tweak it just a bit, and I notice he's not the best adjuster of his lineup. Like, let me tell you something. DC will attest to this. We've been beating the block. We've been beating the showdown. Go back and listen to the prior podcast. We've been talking about him switching his lineup, moving Etuan Moore off the starting lineup onto the bench. We've been saying that. We've been saying about giving Wesley Johnson more of an opportunity to play, that having more of your bench to play. If you're going to run this fast-paced offensive system, you should not just have 3 rotating guys off the bench. That's totally stupid. If you're going to run those guys, and Anthony Davis is leading the NBA in minutes, and if you're going to do that to him, at least allow him to rest in spurts, in more than spurts, to be honest with you, if you want him to be effective. You'll see him score 44 points and 18 rebounds tonight. And then when he plays against the Heat in a few days, if he ain't catch up on all of his rest and he ain't totally still worn out, because a couple of these games were ridiculous. You know, the Pelicans were playing a ridiculous amount of games in a certain amount of time, which is unheard of. But you can't blame the schedule makers and say, hey, guess what? You guys are trying to screw us with the schedule. This is pro ball. You have 15 players on that roster that you can dip into and pull and use to give rest to other players. I'm going to hand it over to DC and let him give his comments on what Gentry said during the game.
Well, I ain't really much too concerned about what Gentry got to say for us that, but I'm going to go ahead and piggyback off of what you was talking about, because that's the most pressing thing. Like, if you want to follow the team that probably does what Alvin Gentry's trying to do the best, it will be the Golden State Warriors. And they're having some problems this year because of the same thing that basically we're talking about. They don't have as strong a bench unit as they had in the past, or at least they're not playing up to their potential. And if you're going to run and try to have that fast-paced style offense, you have to use your bench, because you can look at AD. AD had 44 points last night. Towards the end of the game, AD shot a couple of threes. They both were short. You're getting tired. You know what I'm saying? The man had, 30-something shot attempts last night? 32 shot attempts last night. So, you know, you can't keep that up on a consistent basis every night and expect not to be fatigued. I mean, you look at a team like the Rockets, let's go last year when they were winning. James Harden would have 4 to 5 minute stretches where he just get to sit down and chill out. Even LeBron. You know, LeBron has his little third quarter break where he lay down on his towel and goes lay on the side. Everybody know this. But AD, for whatever reason, him and Drew Holiday, they get like a little 2-minute break and then they throw him back out there, man. It's almost like a pit stop in NASCAR. You know, they just get on the bench enough time to get some Gatorade, catch their breath, and then they right back out there. And this is all because we won't use our bench unit. So Alvin Gentry definitely got to step it up with that. But I am happy the team got the victory tonight. You know, we shouldn't have had to go down to the wire the way we did. Not enough execution down the stretch, and that goes into fatigue as well as game planning and just making smart strategic basketball plays. After the first turnover within the last minute or so, we should have called a timeout instead of letting it happen again. So Alvin Gentry definitely is helping this unit offensively, but adjustments are not a strong point, and anybody who has been watching the games can attest to that. So we just got to keep spitting the facts here at the Pelicans postgame report, getting y'all to chime in, because the more people who keep talking about this, man, it's almost like it creates a tidal wave. They go ahead, and some of these changes you may see happening. We've been talking about the bench, and Etuan Moore went to the bench. I mean, I think it's partially because of an injury, but still, when he was able to suit up, they did put him on the bench. Nikolai Mirotic was able to suit up, and he did come off the bench as well. I mean, you're going to have to do that. Nikolai shouldn't start every game, just the same way Julius Randle shouldn't start every game. It should be dependent on the matchups. And you can have one of those guys come off the bench and give you points. We get murdered by other benches on a nightly basis, and that's why adjustments.
Well said, DC. We got a lot of stuff going on here with the Pelicans. Like we said, big one. Let you listen to some of that hate, and then we're going to ask you again about the Pelican post-game report. Question of the day is, do you think the Pelicans need to make a trade? If so, who? Ooh. All that on the other side of the break. Stay with us. You listen to the Pelican Postgame Report on the PRO Media Network.
Forget ESPN or Fox. Get straight sports talk from the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys.
Sports fans are gearing up and saving big at Fanatics.com, the world's largest collection of officially licensed fan gear. From all the leagues, teams, and players you love, unique one-of-a-kind designs exclusively by Fanatics, and autographed collectibles from today's biggest stars shipped directly to your home. Join Fanatics Rewards for free to earn fan cash on every purchase. Shop now and for a limited time, get 20% off all orders. Fanatics.com, officially licensed everything.
Do you need a domain name? How about a host for your website that can work with WordPress? Try Namecheap.com. They make registering, hosting, and managing domain names for yourself or others easy and affordable because the internet needs people. Namecheap is an ICANN accredited domain register and technology company founded in 2000. It's one of the fastest growing American companies according to the 2018 Inc. 5000. Celebrating nearly 2 decades of providing unparalleled levels of service, security, and support. Namecheap has been steadfast in customer satisfaction with over 10 million domains under management. Namecheap is among the top domain registrars and web providers in the world. They offer a full selection of popular and unique domains along with fully featured hosting packages, SSL security certificates, WhoisGuard privacy protections, and more, all at the lowest prices in the industry. So if you need a domain name or hosting or anything else, think Namecheap.com. That's right, Namecheap.com. Check the description section below for link.
What's up, Sports World? The PRO Media Network is on a mission to reach 10,000 subscribers. So besides our regular programs like the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys, the Pelican Post Game Report, Rapid Fire TSC, and others, we will be expanding out and offering other content like movie, anime, and gaming reviews for your entertainment. So if you enjoy our content, please donate at our Patreon page. Also subscribe, comment, and share. And help the PRO Media Network reach 10,000 subs. Peace.
Get all the latest news and updates from your New Orleans Pelicans at the Pelicans Eye View, the new and official Pelicans Daily Journal, covering everything Pelican.
Attention, everyone.
Get breakdown on games, free agent signings, and potential moves. Unbiased opinions and straight up facts with statistical analysis from G Balance. Go to www.thesportsdaily.com/Pelicans-I-View.
You're listening to the Pelicans Postgame Report on the PRO Media Network for all things Pelicans.
For all things Pelicans, you're now listening to the Pelican Postgame Report on the PRO Media Network, recapping Pelicans' big win, 118-114 over the OKC Thunder. Western Conference leading OKC Thunder in the blender. Smoothie King Center. Interesting game, man. Anthony Davis put on a show. 44 points, 18 rebounds, 12 of which was defensive. He had a couple blocks, couple of steals. He was 11 of 11 from the free throw line. He had 1 3-pointer in the game, 16 of 32 in 40 minutes for the big man. He led his team. Behind him, Julius Randle showed up big in this one. He had 22 points and 12 rebounds for Julius Randle. 9 of 16 from the field in 32 minutes. Drew Holiday, another good game from him. He had a double-double, 20 points, 10 assists, 5 rebounds for Drew. 8 of 21 from the field, 1 of 6 from downtown, 3 of 4 from the free throw line, and 34 minutes of action. They put on a show. Those 3 guys played big. Off the bench, Darius Miller finally got going, 4 of 6 from the field, 1 of 2 from downtown. He had 10 points, 3 steals, and a couple of rebounds in 24 minutes of action. And Frank Jackson comes back from electrifying the G League. He had 8 points in 19 minutes, 3 of 5. Big ups to Elvin Gentry for actually playing him, man. Let me tell y'all something. We didn't have to send Frank Jackson down to the G League to know what he can do. We know the man is electrifying. For whatever reason, I don't know why Elvin Gentry don't see it. Maybe he needs to get stronger glasses. But most people that know basketball can look at Frank Jackson and see he's the fastest point guard on his team. When he's on the court, you can see him running past guys. He's explosive. His defense is not bad. It can get better, but he's just a different gear to most players that you see on the Pelican team. I just gonna be honest with you. Now, the Pelicans put on a good show defensively. They actually played pretty okay. You know, they were able to stop, I guess, Russell Westbrook kind of struggled in this game. He finished with 20 points, 8 of 16 shooting from the field. He was 2 of 5, uncharacteristic 2 of 5 from the free throw line. He was just out of his game. 7 turnovers in this game, 7 assists for him in the game. Top scorers for him was, of course, Paul George was the top leader of the Thunder. He had 25 points on 11 rebounds, and he was fantastic. But the Pelicans, despite allowing Schroeder to score 24 points off the bench, and that coach, guess what? That coach played 5 guys off the bench before significant minutes, 4 of those players over 10 minutes, and that's all I just want our coach to do. He went 3 deep on the bench. Sheik Diallo played 15 minutes, didn't have no points. Darius, I told you about him, and I told you about Frank Jackson, and then garbage time he threw Aaron Harrison out there, who they kind of comment on the Aaron Harrison signing that happened between shows. Like this kid. The problem is I hope Elvin Gentry starts to get a decent bench lineup, because the Pelicans cannot sustain this success unless they have the help of the total bench. So when they start telling you about the Pelicans has a top 5 bench and scoring, and the NBA don't believe that because they add Julius Randle off the bench and he's scoring like 19, 20-something odd points off the game, and they adding that in there. That's totally bull. The Pelicans bench has to be the worst bench in the NBA. That's why this team is struggling, because you can't put all that on them stars. You can't do it to them. You got to allow these guys to have some of the bench guys. That's why they get paid for. You bring them in. You allow your team starters to rest a bit. They become more effective. Elvin Gentry is not recognizing, is not understanding this, and you all know that I'm not a fan of him playing center through the entire damn season. Some games, yes, but not every damn game. You can't line up a small ball and say we're going to go and lead. We're going to be a top team in the West. It just don't happen. DC, what you think about that? Performances by Anthony Davis, Drew Holiday, Julius Randle, and, of course, Frank Jackson coming back from the G League to get his shine on. What you think about that?
Of course, I thought Anthony Davis did amazing, man. I mean, he had another 40-point game. It's the first quarter of the season, and he has about 4 or 5 of these already. I mean, if he's not the MVP right now, I don't know who is. You probably could throw some other names out there, but he better be at least be in consideration seriously right now. So he definitely played well. I thought Drew Holiday had a very strategic and masterful game against Russell Westbrook. You know, somebody who's a tough defender. He only made 8 of 21 from shooting. He had the best shooting night. But he did dish out 10 assists, and he cut down on those turnovers tonight. He had 4, but, I mean, he had a couple of games where he had 8 and 9 turnovers. He wasn't going to cut it tonight. I thought he played pretty good defense, man. He slowed Russell Westbrook down with the help of Harris, too. He also annoyed Russell Westbrook. That was a guy came off the bench, gave us some good defensive minutes. He didn't really do much offensively. But seeing Frank Jackson out there coming from the D-League, knowing he was averaging about 30 points in the D-League, which he should have never been there anyway, those 8 points he scored off the bench were very needed. Him as well as Sheik Diallo. So it was good to see those 2 guys who I believe should get at least 15 to 20 minutes every night. If you can find a way to give it to them, you got to put those guys on the floor. That's our youngest players on our team. They got all the youth, all the energy. Frank Jackson is probably one of, like Big Q said, one of the fastest guys on our team, not just on our team, maybe in the league. He's always running around people. So I thought it was a very impressive performance, other than the mental lapse late in the game, which they let the Thunder, I mean, basically have a chance at tying this game. I mean, it appears that we won by 4, but it was a 2-point game with 9-some seconds left. And before that, with 1 minute and 30 seconds left, it was probably a 7-point game. So we did absolutely nothing down the stretch. And our running, fun and gun, or whatever you want to call our offense, is all good and it's fun to watch. But we need to create some type of half-court set, at least just for late in games when it's time to slow the game down and get for show buckets. Whether you want that to be AD drawing up plays for Julius Randle, Drew Holiday, however, we need to get more efficient at that. But I can't put that on the players. So I thought we had a very, very exceptional night and took down the number one team in the West and put up 118 points on the top defense in the whole league. So it's a lot to be happy about, encouraged about moving forward. But consistency is our weak point, so we got to see what we're going to do against the Heat when the Heat is on.
Yeah, it's a big matchup coming up. The Pelicans have to be able to sustain this success, man, or they're going to continue to be what they are, which is up and down, up and up and up and down, which is the philosophy of the coach. I mean, he's not a consistent man in terms of his defense. And I know we get to the point where they're winning, but, you know, it's getting close to the time when the Pelicans are struggling, and it's only because of you got to blame a lot of this on coaching, because they do have the talent. They have talent on this team. They shouldn't be a 500 ball club. And then as they still struggle, you know what happens? The rumors and all of the innuendo about Anthony Davis leaving to go to this team or that team, or the Lakers trying to put the package together to trade for him. All this trade talk starts to spiral out of control, and it starts now and it goes all the way up into the trade deadline in middle February. Do you want to consistently hear this noise in your ears about the Pelicans are going to trade, or they're trying to trade for whoever's trying to trade for Anthony Davis? Absolutely crazy. This would all be squashed if Elvin Gentry did a better job, him and his coaching staff. Who in particular? The defensive guy. Whoever the defensive guy is, the little guy that they got from Boston, Urban, who's supposed to be this great defensive guy. I'm not seeing it, man. I'm not seeing it. Maybe it's due to the fact that Elvin Gentry is not playing these guys correctly. He's only dipping into his bench with 3 guys when he should go 5 deep into the bench. That allows some of the Anthony Davis to rest. Maybe start playing some of your bigs. Have a big lineup perhaps some nights where you put Jahlil Okafor, who is not playing anything. Why would you sign Jahlil Okafor and not just let him sit all every night? I just don't understand the philosophy. We can't use him. You can't use him against every damn team that you play. It's just absolutely asinine, because people will say, well, the Pelicans won, Q. What are you riding them for? Because next game they'll lose. And then you'll hear me say, well, do you being a pessimist? I'm not being a pessimist. I'm watching a team. They're up one moment, down the next. They beat, who was it? The Mavericks, blew the Mavericks out, 132 to 106, blew them off the map. Then you know what they did? The next game at home, they met up with the Grizzlies and had the game and lost the game 107 to 103. The next night, the following game, they came back and beat the Pistons. You know what they did? Dropped to the Celtics by 13, and they missing 3 of their top people. I mean, it's just like, you know, it's the consistency of the coaching is what's really hurting this team. And I'm not the only critical one. I ride with this team regardless of what happened, but they got people out there starting to talk about playoffs for the Pelicans, and they asking, are they really defenders? Are they really serious contenders for the playoff position? Let's hear what some of these ESPN guys were saying about your New Orleans Pelicans. Here it goes.
500 team. I think he scored 45 times this year and 3-2 in those games. So they got a lot of injuries on this team right now, but they certainly need to make some kind of move to get him more health, or this move is going to end the same way they always do, which is them maybe getting into the playoffs as an 8 seed and getting swept in the first round.
Buy or sell this year being different for Davis and the Pelicans?
I'm selling it. I mean, if the playoffs started today, guess what? The Pelicans would not be in it, and so therefore I'm not taking AD seriously as an MVP candidate. Simple as that.
JB?
Ooh.
This is the 3rd consecutive season in which he's averaged 28 points a game. So nothing has really changed. He needs more people around him that can help them get over that 500.
But go after Yates here. Not seriously as an MVP candidate, Yates said. Stone, you agree with that?
Thank you for coming back.
The team's not good enough for them to honestly take him seriously. That's just how it works in the NBA. I'm sorry. We all know this.
I'm sorry. We know about taking things seriously when you're wearing a sweater like that. How about you? Go ahead, Woody Page.
You better take them seriously, Clinton. I think this is a team that's going to be in the mix before the season's over. With Randall and Holiday and Davis playing like an MVP and Gentry doing a good job of coaching them, they have a big 3 that I think is going to get them in the playoffs and cause problems for a lot of teams. They're hard out.
Give me your MVP race right now. But it's only got 3 guys on it? Is that it? If that's it, that's fine. If you're only saying it's Giannis
I actually
and
think
Kawhi
the Lowrys of the world are in this. Yeah, I mean, my point is this. When a team is not that good, it's hard to justify putting a guy in the MVP race. It's not about Davis not being a good player.
That's some of the ESPN guys from around the horn chiming in with their thoughts on the Pelicans. One idiot said that that AD is not MVP candidate because the Pelicans team is not that good. The Pelicans are 15. They're a 500 ball club. To be quite honest with you, I don't know how many games Yates or whatever his name watched from the Pelicans. Michael Smith should know better than to say what he's saying because he's supposed to be from down here. But the rest of the guys, I got to give a big shout out to the other guy. I forgot his name. Used to be on Cold Pizza way back in the day. Woody Page. Woody Page gave the Pelicans a big shout out. I agree with what Woody Page said, except for the fact that Elvin Gentry is a good coach. But outside of that, man, the reality of the situation is this is how a lot of people see the Pelicans right now. They see the Pelicans as a mediocre ball club, 500, always playing below what they're capable of playing and having a superstar talent. Don't you understand what we have here? We got Anthony Davis here. Anthony Davis is the second best player in the entire NBA behind the legendary one, LeBron James. Do you understand what that means to be able to give this man some help? Drew Holiday finally got it right this year. Drew Holiday last year became this guy who just was a perfect compliment to him. He has stepped his game up so far, it's just ridiculous. His defense is out-of-worldly how Drew Holiday is playing. Unfortunately, the Pelicans coach is not getting it. And I'm saying maybe he had a little bit of imagination to change and adjust and dig to the bench, because it's as simple as that. Stop playing AD at center so much. Allow him to go 2 more guys into your bench. It's as simple as that. That'll provide more rest and more opportunity, more rhythm for some of these guys. They have very talented. Let me give a big shout out to Dale Demps. Dale Demps has done a pretty good job. Him and Danny Ferry, the special assistant, have done a terrific job of putting talent on this Pelican team. The guy who's not playing a talent is Gentry. It don't make no sense that Frank Jackson had to go way down to the D-League for him to dominate the D-League to come back up 2 or 3 games later. We knew what Frank Jackson was and what he was capable of. It's just asinine that you sent him to the D-League and signed Harrison, who I like Harrison, by the way, but you have Frank Jackson. Aaron Harrison to just stall his growth. He needs those minutes. You have to start playing Frank Jackson more and Sheik Diallo more. Those guys are energy and effort guys. We need those. And Jaleel Okafor for God to start playing him, man. He's the only other 7-footer on the team outside Anthony Davis. And the man just sits on the down bench night after night, while Gentry has this imaginary dream of running up and down the court with a small ball lineup to win the NBA line. This guy is absolutely insane, man. And when they march his ass out of here, you're going to understand what I'm saying. This team is not a championship team as long as Alv Gentry is running the show, because that's why he's a under 500 as a head coach. I don't care how many goddamn years he been in the league, for 30 years in the NBA. I don't care what you look at his record as a head coach. He stinks. He was a terrible choice to be the head coach, and I guarantee you, Dale Demps, after he made all these acquisitions, sitting back here saying, "Damn, I'm getting all these guys in here. I talked Jaleel Okafor to come up in here. I talked the rest of these guys to get here, and Elvin Gentry don't even play the guys." I traded 2 second-round picks to get Frank Jackson, who was a borderline first-round pick, and this man don't even play him. He don't even want to play him. So, I mean, it's just, to me, man, Elvin Gentry is holding this team back. It's just what it is. Either we get rid of him or we make a change and be a better defensive coach. Something got to change. You can't just keep having these same lame coaches running back and forth and getting the same mediocre success, and they smile and walk around here like their job's secure. This can't happen, man. This just can't be. But anyway, let's move into our final segment of the show. We're going to preview the next upcoming game, which will be the Miami Heat. Now, the Heat, of course, beat the Pelicans a few games back. Of course, we just mentioned it. The Heat are coming into this thing. They're 11-16, 6-7 on the road. The Pelicans are 15-15, 11-4. Now, Richardson lit them up the last time they played. He's the top scorer on the team, 18.5 points a game, all the 40% shooter. Pretty damn good. Hassan Whiteside is the beast in the paint. He's a true center. Hassan Whiteside is a true center. He averaged. AD is not a center. Even though Gentry might think he is not. But Hassan Whiteside, 14 rebounds a game, and he's excellent. He leads the team. Then D Wade, of course, leads the team with assists. Andy Davis, of course, is everything. 28 points a game, leads the Pelicans on 50% shooting from the field, and a very damn good 82% shooting from the free throw line. So big up to Andy Davis for getting that number up. Then he's a top rebounder with 12.5 a game. And then Drew Holiday needs all the credit in the world for leading his team with assists from the 2-guard position. Big ups to Drew Holiday. He's spectacular, man. He just really turned his game around. I'm really glad that happened for Drew Holiday. Now, of course, some of the inactives they have here, we got a few inactives to make mention of. Goran Dragic is day-to-day. We don't know if he's going to play. Dion Waiters and Hassan Whiteside, they're saying as of now, are out. They're out. They won't be playing in this game, but that might change come game time on Sunday. Nikolai Mirotic and Etuan Moore both listed day-to-day in this affair. Now, of course, the Pelicans in this matchup, man, the last few games, the Pelicans up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. The Heat coming off a 2-game slide against the Lakers and the Utah Jazz. So, look, this might be just what the Pelicans need right here. They got a team that's kind of struggling right here. They've lost 2 in a row. The Pelicans getting a really big win against a really quality team in the West. DC, I'm going to turn it over to you for a few minutes before we leave. What's your thinking on it? Can the Pelicans sneak in and win against the Heat and get 2 in a row?
I definitely feel like the Pelicans can get a victory here. I mean, building off the momentum that they had from the Thunder win, this is a very big win. I mean, this is a contender that they beat, even though somebody that they always play tough. Still, it's a lot of confidence to be had to beat a team that's playing on top of their game and knock them basically off their winning streak, so to speak. So they were on top of the world, and you could steal a little bit of their juice like that. I mean, there's a lot of good stuff to watch from that game, a lot of things to look and build on. As again, I got to keep beating a dead horse, but touching on your late game antics. These are the type of things that cost the Pelicans games. What they did last night, letting the Thunder come back. People have beaten them like that. I mean, there's at least 6 or 7 wins they could have got if they would have closed out games properly. So I think they actually may get to a point where they start to learn from it, even if Al Gentry still is hard-headed and don't want to use his bench. I think the players are wise enough. AD is 25, but in basketball, is he like 50? So I think they're wise enough to start figuring stuff out, man, and to kind of go ahead and get a Heat team who, I mean, they're not really playing, the best. They're 11-16. Ain't nobody really got no feel for the Heat. And this also ties into another segment that you're going to go into. I just want to throw this out here right now. This is the guy that I would want to trade for. This is my dream player to trade for, Richardson. He would be an excellent fit on a Pelicans team. Not a gang of money. I think you could throw a first-round pick at him. And maybe Etuan Moore and Solomon Hill. And you might be able to walk away with a guy like Richardson. Because the Heat ain't going nowhere. They're not doing anything. They're waiting to sign a big name. And if they do get that player, they're probably going to have to restructure their whole team anyway. Other than a guy like Hassan Whiteside, who can pretty much play with anybody.
Appreciate it, DC, on the comments on that. And that's going to do the show. Thank y'all for listening to the Pelican Postgame Report, episode 287 on Pels and Thunder, man. As always, if you enjoy the show, please feel free to go to our Patreon page, www.patreon.com/the PRO Media Network. Make a donation, become a contributor like Sean Sims, who loved the show. He decided to do something about it. He put his money where his mouth is. You can do the same thing. Go to that Patreon page. Also, you can join our social media pages. The links in the description section below. And you can support our sponsors, buy their services or goods with a discount. All that is a win-win. All those links in the description section below. From me and DC, thank you for joining us. Peace.
You're listening to the Pelicans postgame report on the PRO Media Network for all things Pelicans.
Tea is your escape. It's your opportunity to create a moment for stillness, for reflection, for yourself. It's your connection to a world of senses, flavors both exotic and familiar, energizing and relaxing. It's your retreat from an increasingly turbulent world. It's the perfect paradox of simplicity and complexity. Teabox.com connects tea to people, uniting the richest flavors of the finest teas with the curious, the cultivated, and the adventurous all over the world. The freshest tea you've ever tasted, from crop to cup. There's simply no simpler way to experience the wonderful complexity of tea. Teabox, packing up the freshness. Tea thrives on freshness, and so do they. T-Box temperature and humidity control facility ensure that tea is maintained. The teas themselves go into oblique bags with aluminum layers that protect them from excess moisture and light. With T-Box, shopping for fresh, loose leaf tea is easy because you make an informed purchase. You know exactly where your tea is coming from. So for the freshest teas in the world, check out tbox.com. That's right, tbox.com. Check the link in the description section below. What's up, sports world? It's Big Q talking at you from the PRO Media Network, letting you know that we're attempting to make things a lot simpler on our listeners and viewers of our mini podcast. So as a result, we're leasing down a lot of our shows to have their own channels for your convenience. Starting soon, shows like Ring King Boxing, LSU's Tough Tiger Talk, the Pelican Postgame Report will all have their own individual YouTube channels. So thank you for working with us during this process. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for commenting. Thank you for everything. Thank you for your donations and support for our platform as we continue to improve moving forward. Peace.
Forget ESPN or Fox. Get straight sports talk from the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys.
Vapor DNA is the absolute premier online vape store, offering an industry-leading selection of e-cigarettes, e-liquids, and accessories. Our friendly and knowledgeable customer service team is always ready to provide the best customer service experience to ensure you find what you're looking for. We guarantee our vaping gear shop products to be 100% genuine and the lowest price. We are so confident in our selection and our customer service. We will offer our customers a 45-day refund policy. That's right, a 45-day refund policy. We are proud of this offer for 3 simple reasons: quality, selection, and price. And that is the reason you should choose Vapor DNA for all your vaping needs. That's www.vapordna.com. Again, that's www.vapordna.com.
In today's world, children are bombarded with negativity on television, online, and at school. Our kids need to have a positive outlook on life and the world around them. I want to share with you a valuable resource you can use to bring positivity into your child's life. It's the new book, 101 Powerful Children Affirmations, a guide to positive child self-image, from author and dad, G.J. Barabino. This is a simple guide loaded with wonderful and inspirational affirmations designed to uplift young people's spirits. This positive and powerful children affirmational is chock full and loaded with wonderful inspirational sayings that will lift your child's self-image to whole new levels through the awesome power of spoken word. 101 Powerful Children Affirmations, a guide to positive child self-image, from author and dad, G.J. Barabino. Available on Amazon. Order a copy for yourself, your child's teachers, or anyone you know with children. 101 Powerful Children Affirmations, a guide to positive child self-image. Order your copy today.
There's a reason this office canceled Casual Friday. Why this guy is getting cut out of the will. And why sibling rivalries really exist. There's a reason he's always Employee of the Month. And why no shirt and no shoes is no problem. There's a lot of reasons to be a fan, but only NBAstore.com has all the gear.